It was a beautiful summer day, and I decided to take a hike through the nearby forest. The trees towered above me, and the sun shone through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the ground. As I walked, I noticed that the forest seemed quieter than usual. The birds were silent, and I couldn't hear any animals rustling in the bushes. I shrugged it off and continued walking. But as I walked deeper into the forest, the trees started to close in around me. The sunlight was now just a distant memory, and the forest grew darker with each step I took. I heard strange noises coming from the bushes, and I could feel a presence watching me from the shadows. I started to feel uneasy, and I knew that I needed to get out of the forest. But no matter which direction I went, I couldn't seem to find my way out. The trees seemed to be closing in around me, and the noises grew louder and more ominous. Suddenly, I saw a figure in the distance. It was a woman, with long dark hair and piercing blue eyes. She was wearing a white dress, and she was staring at me with a look of pure malevolence. I tried to run, but my feet wouldn't move. The woman started to walk towards me, and I could feel the fear rising inside me. As she got closer, I could see that her eyes were glowing with an otherworldly light. She reached out her hand and touched my forehead, and I felt a sharp pain shoot through my body. The next thing I knew, I woke up in a strange place. It was a small room with no windows, and the walls were covered in strange symbols and drawings. I tried to stand up, but I quickly realized that I couldn't move. I was paralyzed, just like in the forest. The woman appeared in front of me again, and she whispered in my ear, "You are mine now, and you will never leave this place." And she was right. I was trapped in that room, unable to move or speak for what felt like an eternity. The woman would come and go, sometimes bringing me food and water, but mostly just watching me with those glowing eyes. I don't know how long I was in that room, but eventually, I started to lose my grip on reality. I would see strange visions and hear voices whispering in my ear. And then, one day, the woman appeared again. But this time, she was different. She was smiling, and her eyes were no longer glowing. "You are free," she said. "You have served your purpose." And just like that, I was able to move again. I stumbled out of the room and into the daylight, blinking in the bright sun. But I was never the same. The forest had changed me, and I was haunted by the memories of what had happened there. I still see the woman in my dreams, and I can't shake the feeling that she's still out there, waiting for her next victim. It was a bright, sunny day when my friends and I decided to go camping in the forest. We had been planning this trip for months, and we were excited to spend the weekend in nature, away from the stresses of daily life. We set up our tents and started a campfire. We cooked hot dogs and roasted marshmallows, and we laughed and talked long into the night. As the moon rose high in the sky, we all climbed into our tents, tired but happy. But our peaceful night was about to be shattered. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by a strange noise. At first, I thought it was just an animal. But as the noise grew louder, I realized it was something else. I peeked out of my tent and saw a man standing in the middle of our campsite. He was tall and thin, with wild hair and crazed eyes. He was holding a machete, and he was laughing. maniacally. I quickly woke up my friends, and we huddled together, trying to stay quiet and still. But the maniac had heard us, and he started to move towards our tents. We were trapped. There was no way out of the campsite without going past the maniac, and we didn't have any weapons to defend ourselves. The maniac started to slash at our tents with his machete, and we could hear the fabric tearing and ripping. We were terrified, and we didn't know what to do. Suddenly, we heard a loud gunshot. It came from somewhere outside the campsite, and it was followed by a scream. The maniac stopped his attack on our tents and ran off into the forest, disappearing into the darkness. We stayed in our tent for the rest of the night, too scared to move or speak. As soon as the sun rose, we packed our belongings and left the forest. We later found out that the maniac had been a notorious serial killer who had been on the run for years. The gunshot we had heard was from a park ranger who had been tracking him down. But the terror of that night stayed with us for a long time. We never went camping again, and we couldn't shake the feeling that the maniac was still out there, waiting for his next victims in the dark, ominous forest.